LaMelo Ball is a fucking superstar. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say it now. Kyrie is misunderstood.
Okay.
You know, but like shit, every athlete is misunderstood, right? Because Kyrie get judged on whatever is put out in the media or whatever he said. It was like, hey, homie, you can't be wearing this shit. Not like that, but it was like you know, hoodie, LA, you know, I wear khaki sometimes. He like, hey, bro, took me to the mall and he bought me a whole bunch of shirts.
That's dope.
He made me pay for them, though. He was like, man, get this shit.
Fresh like I just got a contract. Fresh like I just got a max.
What's up, fans? We are here. We got a very special guest, big homie. As we've been told today, the Godfather of Los Angeles basketball.
Wow.
Yeah. Many times today.
Baron Davis, B Diddy, whatever you want to call him. You and Kevin Garnett were two of my favorite basketball players on NBA Live between the years 2000 and 2006. I would either take you and trade you to whatever team I picked in the franchise mode so you could dunk on people and shoot threes. Or I would take KG and put KG at the 3 and then run a big lineup with Minnesota and then try to win that way. So you and KG was always my favorite players on NBA Live kind of coming up. So it's dope we can come full circle. Shout out to Baron Davis. Thank you for talking with us today. We was just kind of chopping it up before this, kind of on some business stuff. But obviously, as I said before, you viewed as like the Godfather of LA basketball. I've heard from numerous people today how much you've done for just the youth and the community, and how you used to just literally take people and bring them with you so that way they could see a different lifestyle. Even the first thing, you know, we met you about, you asked us what we was doing, where we come from. You're like, oh, well, we can do something together. Like, so clearly you got that conduit kind of spirit. Where does that come from? Like, how did you become this guy that like can help pull together people and bring people from all different walks of life, or even from the same walk of life, and want to like inspire them to do better? Because clearly you've done that by the environment that we're currently in.
Yeah, I think it's you know, being a sponge, listening and learning, and also realizing that you're blessed with certain opportunities, and you know, along my walk, just try and stay humble. And when you do that, you realize that when you can help somebody, you know what I mean, and like the things that you need help with, people are willing to help you. You know what I mean? And so, you know, it took me a while to do that, you know, and to get to that point. But I think, you know, when I got to the NBA, right? When I got to the NBA, it was like, damn, dude, like I'm 19 years old. Everybody on my team married with kids. All my friends are in college. All my young homeboys is in high school. Like, what am I gonna do? Man, I'm about to hang out with my friends, and I want them to see what it's like because I want them to get here with me.
Did they get that immediately, or was it like a culture shock where like you had to tell them like, hey, you can't be like doing certain stuff in certain areas because of where you move, or was it just a matter of like, I mean, I would assume it is, but like,
it's culture
but like
shock.
a lot of motherfuckers love to say that they humble, but then they say they humble because they don't brag a lot. But I feel like being humble is just about like being real with the people that are in your same or similar circumstance to the point where they can relate. So like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like, you know, accepting people for who they are. And not thinking that, you know, you kind of bigger or better than them. And yes, it was a culture shock, right? You know, I got cousins from Long Beach. You know, I got cousins from Long Beach, best friend from Compton, best friend from Inglewood, cousins from the East Side, cousins from the West Side of LA. And so that is a very uncomfortable feeling when they all come from different hoods and shit like that don't get along. So for me, it was just like, man, like how y'all fools, like one, don't get along, but we gonna all get along. You know what I mean?
Facts.
And so that was uncomfortable at first, right? But then like we all realized that we all had each other's back. They all had my back, which made them feel like, you know, like, damn, I don't love him more than, you know what I mean? Like we all kind of share the same love. And it was for me just to kind of like start breaking down them walls. And a lot of times it's just like you misdirecting traffic, dog. You like, you know, I think the pressure to perform, you know what I mean? Not just on the court, but like off the court and help people and like, you know, like not waver.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
And I want to actually ask about that because I feel like now the NBA is just a much younger league. Like now you have a whole team, everybody under 25. But back then you came in the league in '99. It was still a more veteran-led league. So as far as just becoming a man and growing up, like how quickly did you have to grow up in the NBA? And was there a certain situation that made you like step back, like you know what, I'm a grown man, I gotta handle things a little bit differently?
Yeah, I would say my first year was like the first time, in a long time I sat on the bench and had to watch and like couldn't really like.
Does that actually help, or is that just like some guys say to make themselves feel better about sitting on the bench? Does sitting on the bench and watching actually help you?
No, it does.
It
does.
Okay.
It does, because I would say later in my career I didn't mind coming off the bench because, or when you get hurt, you sit and you're like, damn, I can make a difference. So, coming off the bench is not a bad thing, but when you're young and you haven't been on the bench, you know what I mean? You're like, damn, dog, I'm the third pick. I should be starting. And I'm on a veteran team and I'm coming off the bench playing 19 minutes a game. That's it.
Yeah.
Maybe 23 or 4, but like 19, that's it. Your time, clock in, clock out, no matter what, and it was just frustrating.
How did you feel about that city though? Like, cause that's
Charlotte?
It's
that's
not necessarily the Bible Belt, but it's around there. Like I know guys like Lamelo and guys that are like stars are going there. Well, even Gordon Hayward. I mean, he's a star. He's technically going
Kemba
there.
Was there.
Kemba was there. What is that experience like playing for that, or at least kind of when you were playing, like playing in the air? Really?
Incredible. Charlotte is an incredible city. I always say I was blessed to go to Charlotte coming from LA because it was settled, family oriented, love basketball, and the fans, like, they want to talk hoop. You know what I mean? They love their North Carolina and Duke stuff, and all they Duke schools, but they love talking hoop, big sports fans. And, kind of being in this Bible Belt arena for me, just coming from, my grandmother and that background, it was just easy to find good families to like that didn't want nothing but to feed you, didn't want nothing but to take you to church, right? So for me, it was just like I had my little bubble, my little routine in Charlotte, and I kind of was able to grow my family. You know what I mean? Like just knowing people in the city, and then my teammates being older. It was cool because I got to hang out with them and see what was life in the NBA.
Okay. Makes sense. Okay.
5 years in, 10 years in. You know what I mean?
Who do you feel like was that guy that was like your biggest mentor in those early years for you? Did you have one, or was it just a collective?
It's always a collective, man. It's like for me, I was just a sponge to everybody. I remember Eddie Jones. He would pick me up in his Range Rover, and I was like, "Damn, dude."
How was that for you? Growing up in LA, like I'm sure.
Oh man, EJ was my dog.
Yeah,
EJ be like, "Yo, pick me up for practice." It was like, "Damn, dog."
Like
Eddie Jones, like, pick me up, like this fool live right there. Like I used to tell people, like, "Yo, Eddie Jones live right there." You know what I mean? And like I thought I had a townhouse. Then he was like, "Man, come up to my crib." You know what I mean? I was like, "Oh, he got like a 2-bedroom." He had like 4 of them shits. You know what I mean? I was like, "Damn, like EJ." You know what I mean? It was like, and like the thing about Eddie Jones, dog, is like he was fly. If you watch Kobe, like a lot of like Kobe is like, like Eddie Jones was his big homie too. Eddie Jones was cool, dog. Eddie Jones took me to Nordstrom's, dog. He was like, "Hey, homie, you can't be wearing this shit." Not like that, but it was like, hoodie, LA.
Let me get you
I wear khaki
shit.
sometimes. He like, "Hey, bro, you can't go to the game like this. Let's go to the mall." And he took me to the mall and he bought me a whole bunch of shirts.
That's dope.
He made me pay for them though. He was like, "Man, get this shit." It was like $300. I was like, "Nigga, I ain't getting that shit. I'm about to go get me some white t-shirts." Nigga, got me fucked up. He was like, "No, bro, you gotta have this is cashmere." I was like, "Cat niggas, this shit feel good." Ooh, it feel good. How much is this? $1,800. Oh, hell no.
I can't do this. Not with my
But Eddie Jones was like, fly, bro. He taught me about my routine. Everything he did was just, he was just who he is, smooth. You feel what I'm saying? So like that first year, he was just like, and he was leaving. He was going to leave. You feel what I'm saying? Like he was like, I knew he was out because he was like, "Yo, this ain't the right place for me," and I didn't understand it because I was like, "Damn, dog, like." Next year, me and you, and oh my God. And he was just like, no. And I was just like, at the time, I was hurt. I didn't get it. You know what I mean? But I had Eddie Jones. Then you got somebody like Derrick Coleman.
Derrick Coleman,
right?
DC.
You know, he's super
Derrick Coleman, one of
militant.
those guys that I feel like a lot of younger NBA fans don't know about because he was kind of like literally in that era when they were born. You know what I mean? Like a lot of new NBA fans are like born in like 99, 2000. Like that sounds crazy to us, but
And
like
those
it's the
dudes are,
truth.
like, veterans
yeah,
on
and
their
they was
way
vets
out.
when you was
Yeah.
coming in. So like a guy like Derrick Coleman, like how was that playing with a guy like him? Because he was still, he was
DC was
very
giving
good.
20
DC
and
was
10
very
throughout
good
the whole
in the
90s,
league.
20 and
So
10.
like he was a guy that
DC was just like, he was super talented. You know what I mean? But he was just super smart.
yeah.
And the thing with DC was like, he was outspoken,
Okay.
right? So like, he was smarter than them.
Okay. Than the management or just like
he was
okay.
smarter than
Than
them.
a lot of people.
Derrick Coleman is one of the smartest dudes on the team.
Really?
Period.
Okay.
People fuck with DC. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
a good dude. He misunderstood. And I was starting to understand like why he was misunderstood.
You feel like a guy like Kyrie is like that? Because he didn't
not
want to
like
talk
that.
to the media
Nah,
and he's
it's
putting out statements and stuff, or is
Yeah,
it just
I think it's different. Kyrie is misunderstood.
okay?
You know, but like shit, every athlete is misunderstood, right? Because Kyrie get judged on whatever is put out in the media or whatever he say. But like, what can he say? Like, he not about to tell you shit. You know what I mean? Like KD, whomever, Harden, right? Like you don't know these people to know like what's on their mind, what they going through. Because I went through some shit too. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and a lot of times like, it's hard because you don't know what's going on the inside. You know what I mean? You don't know what's going on internally, but
That's
you
true.
know, you don't know how he is with his family. You don't know how he is with his kids, with his friends, but you judge them based on like
What you
how
see on
you
the
feel
court.
about the team.
Yeah.
Right? And you don't own anything in the team. You know what I mean? And so like sometimes like and that's the game we play, you know, we expose
Is there a real
ourselves.
line, like as a guy who's been the guy? Is there a real line for you for fans? Now, and I'm not talking about like them invading your personal space or like being disrespectful to your family, but like, you know, I see a lot of the guys that play basketball that will say like guys like me and Pavy who never played professionally shouldn't have an opinion on it. It's like, well,
Yeah, of course.
there are video
Hey, dog,
coordinators and
yeah.
stuff who help coach that never played in the league or never played in college. So does that mean that like how do you feel about like what's that line where like you feel like fan and expert kind of, you know, with the game, because you guys do it and we will never be able to do what you do. But as far as like analysts and growing the game and being a part of the game, do you feel like there's a place for them, or do you feel like guys like Kyrie that just feel like they don't need to be involved in that should just have the ability to just say, I don't want to talk to anybody and that should be my, you know, kind of my prerogative versus, you know, even though he's the star?
Yeah, I think everybody play a part, right? If you think about it, like everybody go to the beach.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some people chill on the beach and watch. Some people
I
watch their
love that
kids.
analogy.
Some of the kids, you know, go in so far where they can't. And then you got the dudes who are pro surfers who out there with the sharks who risking their life and everybody watching.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And everybody watching. And like, you ain't gonna take your ass out there with them sharks. You probably can't swim. You probably can't surf.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But somebody who come out every day to watch you surf,
Yeah.
they just as attached to you as well. So everybody play a part. It's just like, you don't know what it's like out there on the water. You know what I mean? And a lot of times they don't know what it's like with you sitting in the cabana drinking a cooler watching them surf. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like the same anxiety and the same connection. So both need both. And, you know, without the fans, like, shit, we ain't nothing anyway, because y'all the ones who, you know, kind of give us that energy and that spirit and that legacy. So, you know, it all works, you know. And someone like Kyrie, whether how he chooses to express himself, you know what I mean? That's really on him. You know what I mean? And I don't think that it ain't really don't seem like no sweat off his back. But a lot of times it's like when you look at traditional media, right, you don't see players giving interviews because traditional media is full of shit. But you'll see them on live with the homie or on a podcast like this. And then sometimes like people out in the culture who are media, you know what I mean, in the digital media business, they tricky too. You know what I mean? I did a podcast and some dudes was, they got tricky. They got tricky on me and just try to create media and headlines.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, I called the dude like homeboy, like, why?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so it's just like the line is we haven't until this time had access to real culture to say what the fuck we want from an unfiltered perspective.
Yeah, from
and
our perspective.
And how to back up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so a lot of times it's media. Then it was digital media. It was social media. But now it's like cultural media. And so like cultural media.
It's a great term.
Giving us a chance to be like, you know what? Like, fuck all this traditional shit. Like, I don't want to watch the game like that. You know what I mean? I don't want to watch ESPN like that. Like, I don't want gossip. You know what I mean? I don't want to hear gossip about my favorite player because I know that he give back, you know what I mean, to my neighborhood and other shit like that. So fans are starting to become more culturally connected to the athlete and the entertainer. And I think this whole cultural media space is where a lot of traditional media and just media in general, right, is going to fall by the wayside because they just fishing for leads and stories.
It's two things I want to ask you. One was about you came in the league 1999. You came in with Steve Francis. When you look at a lot of I'm from Chicago, grew up on D Rose. When you look at a lot of D Rose, I feel like it can be traced back to you. I feel like you and Steve Francis were probably two of the first point guards when they got in the lane, they might rise up on somebody and they wasn't going to lay the ball up. They was like going to dunk it. Yeah. So like, just can you talk about just when you see a lot of the guys like De'Aaron Fox, or John Wall, or Russell Westbrook, and we can get to naming because like now that's like regular, like point guards, that's what they do. Just can you talk about the trace, or do you feel any type of way like, yo, like that guy might have took some inspiration from me?
No, I just be watching, man.
Really?
I just,
Are you a fan now?
But do you understand? Do you understand? Like you were one of the first ones to like one of the first ones.
I know you know who you are, but
for sure. Like I know that, like me, Steve, a few other dudes. Then came like D Rose, but like even big guards. I just feel like, after like the point guard, the history of the point guard in the NBA is like.
A crazy thing.
It's just style, bro. You know what I mean? It's just everybody has taken something from somebody to fit in who they are. And so now you see these jumping point guards is dunking. And, like, I love it. You know what I mean? I'm a fan. I rank my point guards. I get mad at them. You know what I mean? I call them. I be on Instagram, good game. Like, I follow my college point guards, too. You know what I mean? Because it's like, damn, dog, it's just like the game is evolving, and these guys, like we owe it to them to tap in, right, and give them their roses and not just expect, you know what I mean, for them to be like, yo, you paid the way, OG, all that shit. Nah, get these fools their roses because they in the moment. They need it. Like, you know what I mean? I don't need it. Shit, I done did what I did. Yeah. They need it. Like, give them the roses because.
Can I ask a quick question for that? When you said like you did it already, like because you haven't officially retired technically.
I have not officially retired.
So you haven't officially retired. So technically you haven't officially hung up the sneaks. So like, is part of that just you just being like, I don't care about sending the paperwork, or is it just like? Or is it just like, fuck it, like in my mind, as long as I ain't retired, I can still be ready whenever. Is that kind of how do you?
Yeah, kind of like that. Okay. I think.
Like if any team called you, would you actually be like, fuck it, I'll go and try?
Yeah, I tell them to give me 5 weeks, and I'm like, yo, give me 5 weeks. I get there, I need 5 weeks. You know what I mean? 3 weeks. By 5 weeks, I'm gonna be in groove. But that's what I would say. But the reason why I don't send in retirement papers because I just think they just keep me on my P's and Q's. And it keep me connected to the game.
Fair.
You dig what I'm saying? So it keep me like around, fishing around. I feel like if I were to retire, then it would almost be like, I'm like, yo, I'm sending, like, I'm not going to work. Like, I can't go to, it's a different way of going to work. You know what I mean? And so because I don't send in those papers, I always feel like I'm a free agent. And so at any point, it's like, and then on top of that, just for me right now, I want to stay on the same schedule, like working out. You know what I mean? And like,
you still work out every day?
No, I don't, bro.
Do you still work out normally, or is it like COVID, or is it just a normal life? Like I just don't need to do this every day anymore.
No, I be hooping. I be hooping and working out when it wasn't COVID, outside of traveling. But now COVID is just like in-house shit. Yeah. But I haven't been in the gym. I think once or twice. But for me, the gym is my sanctuary.
Okay. Yeah.
Right, and so that's where I think the best. That's where I get out all my, my shit. You know what I mean? And I can just kind of be. And my phone is off. People ain't gonna bother me. I can zone out. Whether I'm in the NBA or not, like, man, that shit be feeling good. You know what I mean? When you make a shot or like you have a good workout or a good shooting session, and then don't let somebody be in there. You know what I mean?
It's a whole different, the competitive juices get the floor
in there. So it's like shit.
Have you seen KD post Achilles?
Meaning,
have you seen him in the gym at all? Does he look good?
No, I told you I haven't really been in the gym like that.
Okay. Have you heard about him being in the gym at all?
Oh yeah, we know. KD
you think he's still gonna be the same? Because Pavy think KD gonna come back in, average 25 over the first 5 games, be a 90, 50, 40 shooter. I'm like, hey, let's just slow down here. Let's aim for 23 a game and figure out if we can work our way up from there. You think I'm being blasphemous?
No, I mean 23 and 25 ain't that big of a difference.
You don't think it's that big of a difference?
No.
Okay. And also just bringing it back to LA. As far as just LA basketball, growing up, I'm from Chicago, like I mentioned mad times. Like Chicago and New York were the places that you thought of where like the best hoopers came from. Now, over the past 10, 15 years, it's been Los Angeles. I feel like you were kind of like the precursor to a lot of that. How do you feel about LA basketball? And also, who were some of the people that you drew inspiration from growing up? Names that we may not know or may know that were in LA and you saw. I was like, man, if he can do that, I can do that.
Yeah, I would say, LA basketball is more of a lifestyle. You know, and I think like New York, basketball is a lifestyle, period. But New York is a certain lifestyle. Chicago is a certain grind. You know what I mean? But LA is more like a lifestyle, right? It is like incorporated into your life. You know what I mean? You are not shying away from a hooper. You know what I mean?
You can also do it all year round here, basically, if you want to.
You can do it all year round. And like, Yo hoop swag is a year-round swag.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Facts, facts.
So,
like, you don't take the sweats off.
You hanging with your skateboard homies, and it's like, shit, we about to go hoop. That's your swag. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so that lifestyle kind of coming up, and I would say coming up, LA was like really like all about like, it was real fundamentally sound, right, with dynamic scores. You know what I mean? And talented dudes.
Makes sense.
You know what I'm saying? And I think when, for me, just like Paul was older than me. The dudes who did make it, Shea Cotton, Illusion Me Man, Kenny Bruner.
Heard about Shea Cotton a lot.
Yeah.
Was Ray Lewis a part of that? Because I heard about him earlier.
Ray Lewis, for me, is like chasing a ghost. So that was the only person.
Wow, that's crazy. You're the second hooper I done heard today be like, yo, Ray Lewis.
Yeah,
you said
Ray
chasing
Lewis
a
to
ghost.
me was like
crazy.
chasing a ghost.
And not talking about NFL Ray Lewis basketball fans. We were having some conversation with some Cali people today, and they was like, ask Barron about Ray Lewis.
Yeah. It was like chasing a ghost. Every time it was like, you live with these stories of this dude you never seen and shit that you only heard, and it's like legend. And it's not legend, it's fact. And it's like, man, that's legend. It's like, it's fact. It's just like, this amazing kind of like figure that you don't see. It's almost like a shadow, you know what I mean? You imagine it. How dope was he? How nice was he? And so for me, it was more so like that, Dwayne Polies and Casper Wares, Jock Vaughn from Pasadena, but
Coach Jock Vaughn.
I didn't know Jock Vaughn's from LA.
I didn't know Jock Vaughn from LA either.
In high school, when he was hooping in high school, man, it was just so many. It was so many dudes that was just like dope that I was just like learning the game from. Dave Fizdale was at Fremont.
Really, I didn't know Dave Fizdale was a Cali guy either.
Yeah,
I knew he was from Cali, but I didn't know
down the street from my house.
Really, didn't know
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Down the street from my house, and then like it was just like a lot of dope dudes that played in the Drew League at the time when I was young. You got Dane Suttle, who had legacy here, like I'm saying, Dwayne Polee, legacy, Casper Ware. All these dudes was like real big time hoopers. And so for me, it was just like, man, I was just a sponge, right? I was just trying to like, one, put on, and then go into crossroads. Like, my shit didn't click till like my junior year.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so like when it clicked my junior year, by the time my senior year came around, it was just like, yo, I gotta try and be as big as I possibly can. Put everybody on the schedule. You know what I mean? And so I think that became like, the kid at the private school, who's playing balling with the private school against the city team. And like, for me, it was just, at that point, I had been around the country and around the world playing against other people.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's kind of like Lamelo. Like, a lot of people think Lamelo going to struggle. I don't think he's going to struggle because he's been playing against grown men since he was a kid.
Yeah.
And people think I'm nuts because now I might have went a little too far. I said I see him, Kobe mixed with LeBron in terms of the passing, but I was really talking about like Kobe's mentality as a scorer mixed with LeBron's ability to be able to throw the ball around the court. But I believe that like everybody think he's gonna struggle against these adults. It's like he's been playing against adults. Why do you think that a guy who hasn't been frequently playing against adults would do better than a guy who has been playing against adults for the past 4 or 5 years? I just don't personally understand that. Am I tripping? Now you don't have to agree with the Kobe part, but I'm just saying like.
Yeah, one, LaMelo is talent bursting at the seams.
Yeah, because even his teammates were saying good things about him today. Terry Rozier said he brings light and energy to the locker room, which I'm glad to hear because I feel like Lonzo didn't get the same love from LA media or the players, I feel like, that weren't close to him as he should have gotten when he first came in. I feel like everybody was looking at LeVar and trying to find an enemy versus saying, hey, this might just be a good kid that just needs some love and to be shown around and embraced rather than like everybody trying to see if he can prove something because of the hype. Am I off base on that?
I mean, that's just your opinion.
I'm just asking. I'm just asking. You could not agree with it. I'm just asking. Am I off? Do you think I'm off base on that? Like, do you think I'm tripping by thinking that he will come in and be able to actually impact the game? Because I feel like people think he's gonna struggle this year. I don't understand that.
Everybody struggles, man. Basketball is about like LaMelo Ball is a fucking superstar. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say it now. It's like you can see it. You can see it, and it's going to take. He's gonna have to grow, right?
Yeah.
He's gonna have to he's not even filled into his body, dog.
I've been saying that too.
You feel what I'm saying? And like he can, I judge people on the way they think, their instincts, and the plays that they make, right? And when you look at someone who's like that, the game is easy to him no matter who's on the court. And so even if he struggles, right, I would say even with me, even when I struggled, it was still like with purpose doing the right thing. You know what I mean? And so, LaMelo is just an ultra talent. He's infectious. And so when you're a point guard, it's just as much about the locker room as it is on the court, right? And when you're a superstar, it's about everything. And this kid has, the opportunity to be a superstar.
So we cover the Clippers. We've been covering the Clippers for like 2 or 3 years. You played for the Clippers. I feel like Blake coming, you were there when Blake was there. Looking back at what the Clippers are now as opposed to what they were when you were there, how much do you think that era is kind of responsible for where they are right now? And also, how was like those Blake moments in his rookie season? Like you were on the court playing with him. I was just a fan, just like looking at the dunks. Like you were there. Like how was that whole era? And was there like a different energy surrounding that team through that time period?
Yeah, I would say like the year with Blake, it was crazy because the year before, remember we drafted him number 1.
And he hurt his knee.
And that year, like until like the end of the year, we were like doing all right, like hovering around 500. You know what I mean? We were doing all right, and it was just like, damn, dude, he would have been the X factor. You know what I mean? And so the next year, I was hurt to start the season, and that's when he was, he just came on and exploded on the scene. I would say with Blake, when we first like connected, it was just instant chemistry because now I didn't need to get all the way to the hoop. You know what I mean? I got Blake, I got DeAndre. You know what I mean? Like as soon as I get past the cross, it's going up. You know what I mean? And that's how like the whole Lob City thing got going. Was like because he was young, because DeAndre was young, and I figure like, all right, you know, this season we just gonna get to know each other and just try to be fun, right? We ain't about to make the playoffs or no shit like that, but like let's like beat teams we supposed to beat, you know, or not supposed to beat, you know what I mean, and win games and have fun. And like if you watch, you know, that year, I would get the ball out and I would throw full court lobs to Blake. And sometimes that shit would hit off the top of the backboard, but we didn't care, you know what I mean? Because all it took was one, right? If DeAndre got a dunk at the beginning of the game, oh yeah, he gonna have all the energy in the world. And so it was just more so like I was trying to teach them, and more so Blake, like, yo, bro, like you can be dominant. You know what I mean? You can do everything. You dig what I'm saying? And it's like he was just an X factor because he could finish around the basket. You know what I mean? Outside of the dunks and all that, Blake Griffin is a hell of a talented player. He can pass, he can dribble. You know, now he can shoot. But I think that, you know, what I was trying to give him was like that dog.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I get what you
no
mean.
hose bar. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. I feel like he kind of had that because even as he started to dunk on people more in the season, you started to see that kind of
that's you watching somebody dunk.
Okay.
That's not. I'm talking about
you
playing
just talking
basketball.
about mental. Okay.
I'm talking about basketball. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You out? I'm talking about basketball. When you see somebody get dunked on, that don't necessarily mean that they a dog. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's like
I
when
get what
you
you
run up against a Zach Randolph or somebody that's gonna
I'm
You
from
gotta
where the
play that
bullies.
on
I'm
the
from
man.
where the bullies from.
Yeah, so you know you gotta know how to like you know find that inner thing, right? That can't be their advantage, and that was pretty much, you know, and I thought that if Blake could just overcome that. Then as his game evolves, you know what I mean, he would have that mentality all over the court anytime he played. You know what I mean? And so, you know, that's a big difference, you know, in like a LeBron James, you know what I mean, and a Blake Griffin. Is like LeBron has a fearlessness, right, that matches with the intellect, that matches with the talent, that matches with, you know, the skill.
But we appreciate it, Baron. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
This
yes.
is sponsored by Super Coffee.
Yeah, shout out to Super Coffee. Let me get one of those.
Man, I want to give y'all some Super Coffee.
My God.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Want y'all try this out for me, man.
We
Tell
will.
y'all fans.
We will. Fans, go out there, get Super Coffee. Comment so much that Baron Davis got to come on and talk to us again.
This equals 2 cups of coffee. Jesus Christ.
Well, you like Red Bulls? But thanks, Baron. We appreciate it, man. We'll get up with you later for
Appreciate
sure.
you, bro.
Thanks, Big Homie. All right.
My God.
Much
Appreciate
love.
you.
All right. This has been Hoops and Brews, man. Talk to the OG legend, Baron Davis. Big shout out to the homie Glasses Malone for always looking out for us. And yeah, man, we'll get up with y'all next time. Any final words?
Till next time.
Yeah, and that was a basketball conversation without all the bullshit. That's what we do here.
Fresh like I just got a max. Roll up this, we ballin' to the max. Fresh like I got a contract. Moving through the city, we be going.